Hi there, Wayne White back from Pittsburgh, PA, and as you may remember from my first video, I'm responsible for the mechanical portions of the carving knife assembly. You saw in that first video, I correctly located the battery with respect to the other components for this cordless design. Now, a lot of other things have happened since that initial video. Sarah went into xShape, created a really cool ergonomic handle, but I need to take that and make it usable for downstream purposes, whether it's fabrication, manufacturing, and the like. So let's take a look at what I can do within SOLIDWORKS Connected for that xShape handle design. Inside SOLIDWORKS, I have access to the same tools that I have in the platform through the web browser. In this case, I'm going to utilize the bookmark editor to find the components that I need to work on. In this case, I want to also change some preferences, and I'll allow products to expand. This ensures that the user can see components underneath products or top-level assemblies. I'll open the carving knife product into SOLIDWORKS. And once the component loads, we're going to start our work and our project at hand, which is to insert the cordless handle from xShape. I'm going to go ahead and fix that part in SOLIDWORKS and open it in its own window. Of course, right now SOLIDWORKS is warning me that I only have read access to the file, and that's okay. Back in our bookmark editor, which makes convenient access to the file that I need, I'm going to drag and drop the handle from Sarah to open it in its own window as well. You can see that that part loads very quickly into SOLIDWORKS. Back in the cordless handle part in SOLIDWORKS, I'll go ahead and take ownership of the file with a reserve that allows the user to write and make changes to that particular instance inside of SOLIDWORKS. And I'm going to insert the part that I just opened from the platform. Of course, in this case, it creates a link. So if the item would change, which we'll show later in the video, we're going to be able to utilize that change within SOLIDWORKS as well. Next, I'm going to shell this. So a shell operation within SOLIDWORKS allows for, in this case, a uniform wall thickness at 2 millimeters for this to be injection molded. Naturally, we're going to split this with respect to the right plane. So the split operation is a traditional Boolean operation within SOLIDWORKS that allows the user to separate. In this case, we're just naturally separating between the right and the left hand of that handle. I'll hide one of the bodies, and as you can see, we've made quick execution of this split operation to generate 2 bodies within this SOLIDWORKS document. Back in the product, back in the assembly, you can see those changes propagate from the part, from the handle that was originally created in the 3DEXPERIENCE platform by Sarah in xShape. Again, I want to take ownership of the product. I'll reserve that document, and this will allow me to, again, make changes to the assembly. In this particular instance, I want to continue working off of the other half of that handle. So I'll hide the right hand and then show the opposite hand. I'll edit this part in context. This allows me to still see the references within SOLIDWORKS and continue to make changes to the part that we see here on screen. Next, I'm going to create some standoffs. Naturally, in this case, since the part is injection molded, we're going to create some plastic extrusions up to the next feature within the handle design. Additionally, I'm going to engage the draft operation so that that boss is thicker as we get closer to the material at the base. We're going to do that on the back side as well. So I can very conveniently select through the face, open up a sketch, and again reference pre-existing geometry within the model for our references downstream for the standoffs. I'll add some co-radial relations here that will define both the diameter and the position of those standoffs in this two-dimensional sketch. And we'll use the same options as the prior extrude as well. The very last thing that I want to make sure happens here, the knife mechanism, the general mechanical guts of the assembly, of course, protrude through the handle. I want to allow for clearance here, so I'm going to sketch in a simple rectangle around that area. Again, building in the necessary relations to that existing geometry, and easily extrude cut this through that front face of the handle. So at this point, we've generated a lot of things here on screen. I want to ensure that we don't have interference. I can run interference detection, in this case between the cover and the motor, and ensure that we either have clearance or we don't. And I would have to propagate those changes back to Sarah. Very quickly, we get results, and as we can see, we do have interference. Not a big deal, but I will have to communicate this back to Sarah, who generated this original shape in the platform through a web browser in xShape. Back in my view in the web browser of the platform, I just want to let Sarah know that my work here is complete, but we need to update the shape coming from xShape. In this case, I'll add a new post. Specifically, I want to tag Sarah and let her know that we have a problem here. So she'll get a notification, and then she can immediately start work on those modifications. Additionally, I'm going to just upload a simple picture that I took of the interference from SOLIDWORKS Connected. And it's that easy. I can publish this back to our community, at which point all of the users in that space will understand that we have interference in that location. Last, I'll go ahead and save this to the platform so everybody can see the modifications I've made. I do always recommend for people to put in comments because those are searchable downstream and people can understand what modifications have been made at different points in the workflow. The last thing I want to do here is just unreserve those files. So that's a wrap for this video. You saw that there's interference between the motor and Sarah's handle when I imported it into our assembly. I commented to Sarah to update that, and in the next series of videos we're going to see how we can handle change coming from xShape back into SOLIDWORKS. Check it out.